get us settled in and present, and then he's going to do a little drum beat for us while I take us into our opening meditation. So everybody knows Jason Day, our third Sunday of the month guest musician. And this is Michelle Anderson. She's going to be our guest speaker today. A lot of you already know Michelle. And she's going to be talking to us about dolphin energy and the connections. And we have a lovely YouTube video. It's about 6 minutes that we're going to share right as Michelle starts to talk. So, all right, so this is our last Sunday service for 2011. Thank you all for being here. Let's go. Just dropping in, becoming present. Feeling your shoulders drop. Feeling your neck loosen and elongate. Breathing in, taking in a triple breath. Letting it out all in one go. And let's just do that 2 more times.
connect to spirit when we witness our breath. When we're breathing in with purposeful intent, the mind talking stops. And so do we have a stillness, even if it's for just that brief couple of seconds. That stillness is beneficial. Grounding as you listen to the sound of the drum. Seeing that beautiful spark of gold and silver and white light that exists in your heart space. See it awakening, expanding, beginning to move. And as it expands in all directions, front, back, up and down, sideways, concentrate right now and pay attention to the expansion that's happening, that's going towards your feet. And see that beautiful light leaving your feet, going into the earth, into the ground. And sense that light, that strength, that part of you, that heart space, going deep into Mother Earth. See that light continuing deep into the center of the earth, wrapping that light around the center of Gaia, connecting, joining, being in camaraderie and companionship with that black crystal at the center of the earth, the heart of Gaia. Know that unification between you and Gaia. Sense her beauty. Send Gaia love. And become aware of the quantum feedback loop between you and Gaia. That as you send her healing energy, so does she send healing energy to you. And you have a renewed and awakened and aware, profound sense of honor and respect to the life force that Gaia brings us. Remembering everything that we have, we come to know is a gift from Gaia. Our food, our shelter, the air we breathe, the water we drink. And you have an awakened awareness of the abundant life that you have as a result of the limitless generosity of Gaia. Feeling that energy coming back up into the earth, coming back up through the bottom of your feet. And now as you become aware of that heart space, it is blessed and connected with the energy of Gaia. See it expanding farther out now in all directions, all time, all space, all directions, all frequencies, all vibrations, all paradigms that exist side by side. Recognize that heart space going all the way up and top out of the top of your head. Going up all the way through the chakras, up all the way to the 22nd chakra, taking you far beyond into the ethers, to multi-universes, touching, recognizing, and being aware of the energy that exists in all 400 billion planets that exist in our Milky Way. Opening up and feeling the energy of the universe connecting with you. Now as you have this link from Gaia all the way up to all realms of the galaxy, going through you in a vertical fashion, now expand your energy, going out horizontally. See it covering and encompassing and enveloping the entire Earth's surface and all the inhabitants and trees and mountains, animals, humans, buildings, structures, cosmic expansion. Our individuality is unique and is intact and exists. And yet, somehow, magically, we are aware that we are connected to every molecule of energy that exists in all paradigms, all space, all time, all dimension. Becoming present, establishing that there is only now. See the perfection of our existence. Breathe this in. Breathe this in. Opening your heart space, filling it with pink energy, emerald green energy. Having this heart space feeding from the heart chakra. Opening up all the vessels, the vehicles, the emotional bodies, the meridians, the channels, the fields of energy. Seeing it bright, beautiful. Breathing this in. This is who we are. We are this channel of amazing energy, of light. Anything else that tells us we are anything to the contrary of this is false evidence appearing real. This is our reality. This is who we are and what we are. This beauty, this divine matrix of light. Becoming present with this knowledge. Now integrating back into this third dimensional space, keeping all of this knowledge, feeling and awareness with us, coming back to the room. Feel yourself coming back and becoming present. Wiggle your fingers and your toes, feeling grounded and yet connected to the ethers at the same time. And we're back. Way back. Is everybody back? What? We're missing Jerry. Jerry, there you go. I know, I'm so sorry. What you can do is you can watch the YouTube video afterwards and then just hit pause very quickly as you're coming out of it. And you hear me say come back, just reach out and hit pause and then just stay there. So, I know, it does seem a shame to bring you back after we take you there. But that's actually the whole point of bringing you back, is that this is who you are in this present state. You don't have to go into a state of meditation to be there and to hold that light and to recognize that this is our natural state of being. Wouldn't it be amazing if you could hold that light 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and that's how we walk around in our existence? Think of what we would do. Think of what we wouldn't do. More appropriately, right? When I teach people in classes about shifting their paradigms, and they say, I want to learn how to do that. The irony is, what I'm teaching them is to unlearn all the things that they've been doing naturally and without conscious thought. Because your natural state of being is light, and it doesn't need instruction, and it doesn't need rules, and you don't have to learn how to be that way. It's not something that you achieve. It's what you are. The achievement is recognizing that all the other things that you've learned aren't true. And it's really funny, Adam and I have these conversations all the time, and we say things, don't we, without even realizing. And last night, or Friday night, he said something, And I said, is that what you want to create? And he shook it off and said, no. We have to remind ourselves what we're creating with every single thought and every single action and how we conduct ourselves. And it just seems like it's a lifelong habit, isn't it? Oh, I'm going to be late. That's not going to work out. Oh, this person's going to do that. I'm going to have this happen to me. And we don't realize, we think we're observing and being discerning and describing and protecting ourselves, but we don't really realize we are actually creating it by that very statement. So this is Michelle Anderson, and she is just one of the loveliest people I know. And she's going to be talking to us about some dolphin energy and connections. And we have about a 6.5-minute YouTube video that we're going to see later. And when I record it, what I'll do is we'll stop the recording. When I do the playlist for the Sunday service, I'll simply include this in the playlist so that there's a continuation. So if you want to watch it at home, it'll be seamless for those of us that share. And so today's a really special day. This is our last Sunday service for 2011. Next weekend is Christmas, and although we are a non-denominational center, it's my family tradition, so we celebrate Christmas, so we won't be here on a Sunday morning. So I hope that all of you will have an amazing week next weekend. The weekend after that is New Year's Eve. We are having a New Year's Eve party here. Some of you have bought your tickets already. And we're going to have a lot of fun, music, food. And I'll be doing just a brief prayer right around midnight. And then we'll bring in 2012 together, and there will not be a Sunday service New Year's Day because we're all going to be here really late. Our Sunday service on January 8th is going to be Gerald C. Rivers, who is a channeler for Martin Luther King, and he's going to be here with a complete ensemble of music and dancers and sound healing and didgeridoo. And then he's going to be doing a very intimate session, and I believe that you're going to be able to ask Martin Luther King questions if you want to, and he will be interactive. So I encourage you to come to that. So yesterday I was deciding to do some magazine advertising for Radiance Now, and I decided to walk through Laguna and do some connecting with the local businesses there. And I decided at the same time to finish up my Christmas shopping, and I wanted to support the local Laguna Beach community instead of Costco or the internet or the mall. So I wanted to do all my shopping in town and support the local businesses. As I was walking around, I had just left a store, and I crossed over to one of the streets, and my guide said, Zinc Cafe. And I did what I sometimes do habitually, is I almost shook them off and went, what? And then I heard again, go into Zinc Cafe, and I said, it's a cafe, they're not going to buy an ad. So I did as I was told, and I walked over and I went into Zinc Cafe, and then I saw the reason why they took me in there. There was this plaque on the wall, and it said, when was the last time that you did something for the first time? Isn't that great? And I thought, what an appropriate thing to talk about as we're going into a new year, a new millennium, a new energy shift, the new Aquarian age, or the revisiting of the Aquarian age. When was the last time that you did something for the first time? And it's so appropriate because we're moving now into a space and time. The energy shift, I get chills, so do you, don't you? When we think about the way things are going to be, and my guides are telling me it's going to take 10 or 20 years for the full effect of the retransitioning of the energy of the Aquarian age to really embed fully into where we'll look 20 years from now, look back and go, oh, I remember feeling that way. We're going to be going into a place of far less rules because people will be accessing their inner light all the time and be aware of their inner light. And personal conduct, self-respect, honoring, the establishment and the maintaining and the vehemency of protecting our own personal sovereignty and free will be so deeply embedded in our every move occur to us would be to violate somebody else's free will. And when you have a state of all beings existing in a state of honoring our own personal and everybody else's free will, you really don't need a lot of rules. That is the one guideline that we need. And if you think about if there wasn't any violation of anybody's free will ever, what are some of the things that would go away? Yeah. Well, we may choose to have somebody govern, but they certainly will not have the unimpeded authority to act in self-agenda as they do. And, our congressmen are just, they're normal human beings that exist in fear and scarcity and lack, and they've been subject to the greed of the lobbyists that are coming in with their own personal agenda. So that will go away. The corruption in the government will go away. Theft, violence, all of those things cannot exist if everybody knows they have free will and that they choose to exercise it. That's the biggest thing. That is the only reason why we don't exercise our free will, is we forget, we have forgotten that once we establish that and put that out there, you cannot violate it. It's the only reason why negative things happen to you, is you have forgotten to have your free will intact. If you think about it, really. So we're moving into this age now. We're going from darkness to light. And a lot of people have this feeling towards the Piscean age and the patriarchal societies that it created, and they have perhaps feelings of why did that happen and why did it have to be. And when I asked that question, my guide said, just imagine the dark side of the moon. It's just a cycle. All of the zodiacal cycles, there are light, there are not so light, and there are dark. And if you think about the moon cycle, we go from a new moon where we can't see it all, it's completely dark, and then we go to the waning and the waxing in between the full moon. It's just cycles of light. Sometimes it's completely visible, sometimes only partially, and sometimes not at all. But the moon exists, doesn't it, even though we don't see it. And the sun that shines its light upon the moon is still there, even though we can't see it. In the Piscean age, the light existed. It always did. It never went away. We just couldn't see it because of the astrological cycle that we were in. And so now we're coming into a place in time where we're going to start being able to see it. We're coming out of darkness into light. But it's just movement in the cosmos. It's just an energetic cycle. It's not bad. It's not good. It wasn't a punishment. The Aquarian age isn't a reward. It's just cycles of energy. Just like you go to sleep at night and you turn out the lights and it's dark and you rest. You wake up when it's light and you go forward and move. It's just a cycle. So now we're in the cycle. We've been asleep for 2,000 years. We've been asleep and been not aware of our light, and now we're waking up. It's that easy, and it's that gentle, and it's that natural. And it's going to be really beautiful. I'm excited. I think this is the most amazing time to be alive. And when I think about what's going to happen over the next 10, 20 years, the biggest thing I pray for is ease of transition. That the corruption and the chaos be minimized, and that we discover the corruptions in the government piece by piece, and that we take them down piece by piece and rebuild them piece by piece, and that we don't have this huge sudden movement with this chaos afterwards. That's the thing that I consciously create more than anything. And there are times, I remember when you were here last in February with your brother, he's a history teacher, right? I remember having a conversation with him about, you remember in the times of the American Revolution, we kicked the British out, and there was a little bit of chaos for about 5 or 10 years as we established unity, we established one currency, and we got to feel like what it felt like without having that guardian telling us what to do. But we figured it out. It didn't take more than 20 or 30 years to establish order. And it will be the same thing as we pull down some of the chaos. We haven't got those governments there dictating all of our every move. It may take 20 or 30 years for us to figure out how to do it on our own, but we will. And it'll be graceful and beautiful. So I would like to introduce Michelle. Now, do you want to do the YouTube video really quickly before? Did you want to talk first?
I actually think it'd be good to...
Okay.
Who wants to go into the ocean? You want to go into the ocean?
Okay. All
We're
right.
going to look at life under the sea.
Okay, so we're going to see a YouTube video, and as I mentioned, for those of you watching remotely, I will include it in the playlist, so you'll just see it as the next piece. So, did you stop recording that at all? You haven't stopped recording yet. Well, if you would just stop it, I wouldn't have to erase it. Yeah, you would just, yeah.
We'll give a link to it. Is that what you'll do?
Yeah, we do.